was all thanks to careful planning by our superiors. That was a quote from a police story.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Awful Takes podcast, episode 60.
60? Holy cow. We made it.
Crazy.
We're getting old.
Thank you guys for joining us. If you're joining us for the first time, this is the show where we talk about movies, music, and we have very awful takes about it. So if you want to argue with me in the comments, feel free to do so, because my opinion is my own. Just kind of a little announcement. We're going to be coming out with our top 10 movies of the year and our most anticipated of this year. However, we are waiting. I know for me, I was waiting on watching a few certain films, but I just wanted to give a little announcement that those are going to be coming very soon. I just didn't want to feel forced to do it without seeing all the films I wanted to see.
Exactly, yeah.
I know that kind of happened last year where I missed out on some movies and, I felt a little pressured, but we will be getting to that shortly. So just be on the lookout for that. Also, we're going to be hopefully having more guests here pretty soon. I've been talking to some people, so it seems like they'd be interested on coming on. It's just finding a date and time to make that work, but hopefully it's soon.
That's exciting.
All right. A little bit of movie news. We're going to kind of do a little backtracking just because there's some things that we haven't talked about. And I figured now, since we're kind of in a news week kind of lull, we'll take the time to talk about it. It's going to be a little fanboyish. So if you guys don't really care for this, we'll have time stamps in the bottom. If you want to skip to the review, feel free to do so. But as of right now in the movie universe, some big things are happening. I guess we'll start with the smaller one first. James Gunn is following up Superman this year with the next movie in his DC universe. And it is going to be Supergirl. It will not be directed by him. And it's going to star Millie Alcock. And she, I guess, was on Game of Thrones or House of Dragon or something.
Oh,
I think that's where she's...
I haven't seen that.
Kind of gaining popularity.
I remember she cameoed, though, in the newest Superman movie. Yeah. So that did get me a little bit excited.
So they released a trailer probably about a month ago. I remember watching it when it came out. I was kind of excited for it because it was kind of cool to see, obviously what the next follow-up is going to be as far as the movie universe goes. And I did like the trailer. I very much enjoyed it. However, I wasn't super excited. It didn't really elevate my excitement in any way. It didn't really make me more anticipating this movie. I guess some of the tones in it, I was just a little...
It's kind of jarring because it's kind of like mixing a little bit of that comedy, but there's also kind of like a drama aspect and element that they're teasing throughout. So it's kind of hard to tell what kind of tone they were going for with the trailer. Yeah,
and it really, if you guys watch it, it feels like you're watching Guardians. It really just feels like a Guardians of the Galaxy flair to it, which is not a bad thing. But that was the one thing I immediately picked up on to where I was like, all right, this is kind of a little jarring, I wasn't expecting to see those influences too soon. Obviously, I feel like Superman had some of those influences, but it wasn't as apparent. With this, like the sets and everything, I don't know why. I was just like, this feels so much like Guardians of the Galaxy to me. Mm-hmm. Overall, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. I think I was looking for something maybe a little bit more. Like I said, I think a lot of trailers have a very distinct job of appealing to the widest audience. Yeah, that too. And if they don't make you excited, then it's almost like...
Well, what's the point?
The fault of the trailer. I guess that's just my own opinion, to be honest.
One thing, though, that I am kind of excited about, just seeing Lobo, especially because it's going to be played by Jason Momoa. So I can't wait, because Lobo is honestly one of the most interesting characters in DC. Very interesting. And I would love to see how they bring him in like a live action version.
So I thought they were going to take influences from this comic book series called Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. At least that's what I thought, because I remember when James Gunn announced it, I think he said that was going to be one of the influences, but I didn't really notice it too much in this. So I guess that was another kind of, not let down, but I was a little disappointed. where
might be loosely based.
It might be. I think it might be something a little bit smaller. It's probably not like a straight up adaptation, which isn't a problem to me. I mean, figure all these movies, comic book movies, are always adapting something in some sort of way, and it really is never a straightforward adaptation. But I didn't really see too many influences from that comic book series in this.
Okay.
So I guess that was one thing. But yeah, if you guys haven't seen it by now, definitely check out the trailer. We're going to see here come June or July, what this is going to be.
That's not too far ahead, honestly. So that's cool. We're getting another DC movie so quickly.
Yeah. All right. Now this next one. There are...
Yeah.
So
what do we got?
My plan was waiting for all of these little teasers and stuff to be done. Because what I'm hearing is they're going to be releasing like a full-length trailer during the Super Bowl time. But we figured since we have this kind of lull in movie news, we could at least start talking about it. There are teasers for Avengers Doomsday that started at the beginning of December, and they have been releasing alongside Avatar, Fire and Ash. And each week they've been doing a different teaser, which I got to be honest, that's kind of a cool marketing strategy.
Especially because you have so many characters too.
Yeah. And I feel like they really are showing those sides. So we'll start with the first teaser. First one is wasn't shy.
Controversial
really just
one.
Threw it right at you. Steve Rogers, Chris Evans is coming back. And it shows him he has like a child, shows him picking up his Captain America suit again. And the trailer just ends saying Steve Rogers will return in Avengers Doomsday. Which I got to be honest, was kind of a shock that was the first look at Avengers Doomsday. I thought they were going to do something else. So the fact that was the first thing that they teased, I'm like, all right, he probably has a very major role in this movie.
Right.
Because I feel like if it was something smaller, I don't think they would show it. I think they would probably have chose for a different first look. But yeah, I remember watching that teaser. I was just like, oh.
Wait, dang. What the?
That's crazy. And I got to be honest, it excited me, but I was also a little let down just because I kept hearing... I thought we were going to get like a full-length trailer. I thought we were going to see Doctor Doom, which is what I really want to see.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But yeah, it wasn't in there. So, Wally, what'd you think of that Chris Evans trailer?
I'm mixed on it. Part of me is like, I loved the arc they gave him in Avengers Endgame, and I liked the way his story ended. But also at the same time, I am kind of a little intrigued considering it's doing like a multiverse thing. I kind of definitely want to see how much of a big role like Steve Rogers will play in this and how they'll kind of play into like the whole multiverse aspect.
Yeah, I think that was one of those things that I have to rewatch Endgame, but I think that's one of the things that they mentioned is like when you mess with time, it tends to mess back. What I think was one of the quotes or something, which I think this whole movie we're going to watch is going to be a byproduct of that, of them. I'm just speculating, but I'm just assuming that them taking those time stones and everything, something must have gone wrong. And obviously Steve staying back in the past
could have consequences.
Something could have happened because of that. And I think that's interesting to almost treat it as like, no, this isn't just them returning for the sake of returning. Story-wise, they did something that they shouldn't have in Endgame. And I like that. I like that we might see consequences of those actions. To me, that's very interesting.
Yeah, like, okay. Exactly.
Like, that's kind of a cool way to frame it. Again, that's all speculation. I don't really know
if that's what they're going to go for.
Yeah.
But that could be cool.
That could be really cool.
You might be right.
Next teaser was this one with Chris Hemsworth as Thor.
That's great. I'm glad he's coming back to this. Even in that terrible Thor movie that came out a couple years ago, he was honestly one of the only good things about that movie. So yeah, I mean, it's always nice to see Chris Hemsworth as this character. And you could tell like he loves playing the character
and
too.
It shows him with his daughter and everything. And he's got his hair cut again. He's looking ready to go. He's praying for strength to like fight.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. I definitely will say the Thor one. I was like, all right, that was cool. Like my excitement was raised.
Yeah.
One of the through lines that I'm noticing, I don't know if this is true. And again, another theory, speculation. I don't know.
Okay.
But spoilers for Fantastic Four if you haven't seen it. At the end of Fantastic Four, they obviously teased Doom, which we were all expecting. I mean, that's kind of their guy.
I mean, it's a Fantastic Four. You got to tease Doom in there.
Yeah. And in that, Doom is trying to get Franklin, Reed, and Sue's son Franklin. And a through line I've noticed in these first two trailers that I could be grasping at straws. Steve Rogers has a kid. Thor has a kid. So I'm like, is Dr. Doom like going to be a baby snatcher?
He's stealing all the kids.
Which I was just like, oh shit, that's kind of dark, you know, if he is going to be after these kids.
The super kids, right?
Yeah, to try to influence them or turn them evil. I don't know. I'm just like, it's just a through line I've been noticing. I'm like, okay.
That's true. I didn't even realize that, honestly. Yeah.
So again, that's just a little speculation, but it was cool to see Thor with his kid and everything. I guess that was one of my favorite aspects of how Love and Thunder ended. One of my only favorite aspects was Thor having this child and everything. I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. And that was a nice kind of evolution that happened in that movie of seeing Thor now being responsible for someone else.
Yeah, which I kind of forgot about until I saw that teaser. I was like, oh yeah, he does have a daughter.
Yeah. And then we have another one, which for me was the big one. This was the one that...
Which is the one that shocked me that they revealed this so quickly on.
Yeah, I have a little theory. Again, I'm all theories, so...
Okay, no, bring them on. We got another year, so
they showed this next one. And they really pulled out the big guns. The X-Men. They showed 3 X-Men. They showed Charles Xavier, they showed Magneto, and they showed Cyclops. All returning actors. We had Patrick Stewart, Ian McKellen, and James Marsden coming back as these characters.
Crazy.
And in their trailer, I would definitely say it's a lot darker. I don't know. Like,
is this going to tie into Days of Future Past, I wonder?
Maybe. It shows the mansion all destroyed. It shows Charles with Magneto, and they're kind of having this small moment, and it's crazy. And then they cut to Cyclops, and he blasts the sky with his vision and everything. He's screaming out loud, and I was just like... And I don't know, in the background, you see like these, I'm assuming they're like sentinels or something, like stomping around. The place looks decimated in the background. And then the trailer, it says the same thing. The X-Men will return in Avengers Doomsday.
I never thought in a million years I would ever see the X-Men in an Avengers movie. So, yeah.
So that really... was crazy, like watching that. Yeah, Wallied, what were you thinking with that X-Men one?
It blew my mind. It really blew my mind. I never thought I would see like Professor X again, especially after Logan and like his kind of arc in that film. So now seeing like them on screen again is like kind of same thing, similar to the Steve Rogers thing. I'd love to see how much of a role and everything they play in this. And I'd love to see how they maybe connect maybe like the older, if they're even going to maybe like connect like the older X-Men movies or like Days of Future Past, you know, and see how they tie that in with Doomsday, you know?
It really is crazy that they showed this in this trailer. Obviously they need to build excitement for this movie.
Of course.
And here's one of my theories. I really feel like the X-Men being in this isn't as big as a reveal, you know? I think that's one of their strategies with marketing this movie is there are going to be big reveals still in the movie, because part of me is thinking like, okay, well, why would you show the X-Men? Isn't that kind of like a spoiler or something?
Yeah, exactly.
But when they first did the casting announcement, obviously they said all these returning actors were going to show up,
right?
Like Patrick Stewart and all this stuff. So we were already kind of expecting the X-Men. So I think what they're leaning into is kind of showing us some stuff, because obviously there's no way to market this movie without it. So I'm assuming right off the bat in this movie, we're going to get Steve coming back. We're going to get the X-Men showing up. I feel like this whole movie is probably going to be very expansive and huge. I feel like them showing us the X-Men, they probably know like, well, we can't really market this movie. They're probably so prevalent in this movie that there's no way to kind of hide them and cut around it, you know?
Right, yeah. Which makes me kind of a little bit more excited if that is the case.
Exactly.
Though, honestly,
that's one of the reasons I feel like that they're kind of jumping into that. I think these teasers are enough for people to get excited. I just feel like we're kind of waiting to see what the big story reveal is. Obviously, we're waiting to see what Doom looks like and everything and his appearance.
Yeah.
So it's kind of crazy. I'm already as excited as I am, and we still haven't seen Doom. We haven't seen
Fantastic Four.
Fantastic Four.
Or the new Avengers now.
New Avengers. Yeah. So I think these trailers and teasers are doing their job. And then obviously they're conveying to the main audiences what this movie is going to be, because we all kind of were speculating that Steve Rogers was going to come back. But for the people in the theater who saw that trailer, that was probably a big moment of like, wait, what? One thing I don't want to do is jump to any conclusions. I feel like people are not being fair to this movie, and granted, I guess they don't need to be, but I feel like they're kind of jumping at like, oh, they're doing this, they're out of ideas, they're out of this, you know?
Yeah.
But one of the first things I remember people saying when Marvel purchased Fox was, get the X-Men in Marvel, put the X-Men in Marvel. And it's just now like, now they're doing it and people are upset. So I'm just like, whatever. I don't know. That just kind of bugs me. But yeah, and then they did this last teaser, which is the most recent one. It hasn't been put online yet, but I saw a leaked version of it. Shows the Wakandans with Namor, kind of picking up on Wakanda Forever. And it shows Ben Grimm of the Fantastic Four meeting them.
Oh.
Yeah. So,
okay.
I'm assuming their ship or whatever lands in Wakanda, and that's probably like where they kind of start off or something.
Okay.
But yeah, that's kind of crazy.
Exciting.
Yeah. I'm really excited to see the plot developments of this movie. I feel like we're going to get some kind of plot-wise trailer. I feel like this Super Bowl trailer that's going to come up isn't going to be anything with story.
No, it'll probably be like these teasers that we're talking about.
Another kind of cryptic teaser, and obviously I think they'll show Doom. But I think when they do the plot reveal of what this movie is going to be, I think we're going to see a lot more people get excited.
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny to see now people seem a little pessimistic about it. And rightfully so. Marvel hasn't really been turning out the best movies. But the one thing I want to say with that is, I don't know, I feel like it would be dumb to think that this team can't pull this off. I feel like with the Russos returning and all these aspects,
and especially because you have so many characters too, it's like I'm more excited because I just want to see how they pull all of this off. You know, especially because obviously we talked about all the characters coming back, and now with the teasers and everything, it's like this is going to be probably like a long movie. I'm sure it's probably like 3 hours or something.
Honestly. But I'm very excited. These teasers and stuff. We'll talk about the Super Bowl one when it comes out.
Yeah, that'll be in a few weeks. I'm sure.
I feel like these teasers are doing its job. It's elevating excitement. It's getting people talking about it. And it's kind of crazy to think that we are anticipating this movie when we've been so down on Marvel over the past couple of years.
Yeah.
And again, we need to remember the course correction that they had to do. You know, Kang, the actor, not working out, you know, that was a very big hindrance to Marvel at the time. Marvel's had a lot of hindrances and a lot of unfortunate passing of Chadwick Boseman. I guarantee they weren't planning on that.
No. That'd be eerie.
Yeah, this whole thing, I feel like there's a lot of course corrections, you know, that they've had to do.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, I feel like overall, first looks, they've been cool.
Yeah, I've been hopeful, so let's hope they can pull it off for sure.
Yeah. Let us know what you guys think of those trailers.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, Wallied, what are we talking about?
Okay, so I recommended something I hadn't seen before, so this was a first-time watch for me. So I recommended a film called Police Story by Jackie Chan, who not only directed it, but he also co-wrote it, and he's, of course, the main actor of it. And it's a pretty simple plot and setup. It's basically a cop played by Jackie Chan, Kakui, who is trying to get a crime boss, basically. And obviously, there's other things that happen. As it's kind of insane how the plot unravels in this movie. But yeah, that's pretty simple setup. This is a film I had heard a little bit of, if you talk about like that whole scene of like the Hong Kong cinema scene and like Kung Fu cinema scene. This is one that gets talked about a lot in that movement in general. And for me, Jackie Chan is somebody I watched a little bit of like as a kid, like with films like I kind of mentioned, The Karate Kid, which I loved him in, Kung Fu Panda was, I think, one of my other introductions to him as the monkey. And then, of course, Rush Hour and Shanghai Noon, which my dad showed me as a kid and everything. And so for me, Jackie Chan is somebody that I've always been just really shocked by, at least with watching those movies of like, it's kind of insane of like how he pulls a lot of stunts off and how he does a lot of these action sequences. I think aside from maybe like Bruce Lee, I can't think of like maybe another actor that pulls off some of these like stunts and action sequences in camera. And it's like such a physical performance to where I'm just kind of like mind blown by everything going on. So going into this movie, honestly, I gotta say, I was really blown away by this movie. This was not at all what I expected. And literally from the moment it begins, it just throws you into the action right away. It is super over the top in like the best way possible. And some of the action sequences and some of like the kind of slap, and that's something I wasn't expecting either was like a lot of slapstick humor throughout the film that really just caught me off guard and really got like a lot of great laughs out of me. I'm excited to get into it and talk about like just some of my favorite moments in the movie and some of the stuff that really, really works for me. So Nabahi, Police Story, Jackie Chan, where are you at?
Yeah, so Jackie Chan is obviously a big name in movies and everything. He's had quite the catalog of just, being actor, in so many physical roles and things like that. My introduction to him, I think, was a movie called Twin Dragons, where Jackie Chan plays two versions of the same character. And they're like twin brothers and everything. That was a movie that my uncle showed me when I was very young. I like that movie. I mean, obviously it doesn't have the greatest reviews, but that's where I kind of picked up on Jackie Chan's, physicality and everything. And obviously he had his great, blockbuster movies of the 2000s that, I ended up watching. Like one of the earlier movies I saw with him was Tuxedo. That movie was kind of cool. Obviously I saw some of his other films, like when he was in Karate Kid and things. He was this big actor. And then, like I mentioned, Shanghai Noon and Shanghai Nights.
Yeah, that's cool.
And then
really
I also
awesome.
watched quite a few episodes of the animated show Jackie Chan Adventures.
Oh, on Cartoon Network.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's nice.
And that show was cool as well. So yeah, he was always like this, larger than life kind of actor. Anytime you'd see his name in something, it was just like you kind of knew what you would be seeing. You know?
And it was like, you got to see it.
Yeah, you'd have to. I mean, he just put so much into his roles and everything. But watching this movie and really kind of seeing where some of his earlier films were and everything, and seeing the commitment and stuff that's in this movie is just insane. Like, it really was mind blowing. Like watching this, there's so many moments and things where I was just like, how is this happening right now?
How do you even
pull
off something like that? Right. Yeah. Especially because it's like mid 80s too.
Crazy. Like there's so many different moments in this movie that where I'm just like mind blown as to what's going on, and seeing his commitment to the stunt work, the martial arts, to even just the humor side of this movie, and then the acting as well. There's so much commitment that's happening on screen, and you could just see it at so many moments, and it's just quite a thrilling movie. I mean, it's very short, so it just keeps your attention. But yeah, there was just so many moments where I was just like, how did they do this? How did this happen?
I probably said that at least like 100 different times watching this. Honestly,
insane. And the cool thing is, none of these things feel they're done necessarily just for the stunt work. I feel like everything still feels relatively close to these characters, and it feels close to the story that they're setting up. There are those large moments where it's like, holy crap, like this is insane, but it's never, I don't feel like it's just for the sake of doing something insane. They find a good blend of it, of weaving this guy in and out of these big moments and then also the hand-to-hand stuff to where it feels natural and it doesn't feel jarring in any way.
Yeah.
Right from the beginning, they really set up the stakes of where you're going to be watching with this opening. Like this opening is insane. Like,
it's phenomenal. It has to be like, honestly, one of my favorite openings I've seen in a movie movie, especially for an action movie. Like, it was so shocked how much they set up so quickly. Like, they literally tell you everything about the villain and the mission, like literally in like the first 5 minutes. And then it's kind of funny, like the officer, the teacher, he's like, okay, memorize the information, then destroy it. Everybody's just like shredding the paper. It was such like a funny moment. And then like just right away you have this whole like, I've heard that kind of term gun fu, you know, and sometimes I'm like, I don't know if I see it, but with this movie, literally in the beginning, I'm like, this is gun fu at its finest.
Crazy.
You have people shooting at each other. It's in this kind of like small little village, it looks like, or something. And I like, my jaw was on the floor, especially when they got to like that whole car sequence.
And
like
crazy.
And like Jackie Chan goes into the car, he's like driving it down this village, all the like tents and everything are getting destroyed, and then the way, and it's like, it's crazy because the whole sequence goes on for 20 minutes and it doesn't like feel like it goes on for too long or anything. It's just like so tightly paced, surprisingly, which I wasn't expecting at all with this.
I feel like they really push past a lot of regulations, because I'm just like, I really doubt that they tested any of this, and they probably just went with it, because I'm like, there's no way. Like, when you see these cars driving through these houses and everything, and the camera's not stopping,
and it surprisingly doesn't feel shaky at all or anything.
Yeah, I'm just like, there's no way they tested that and then reset everything up to
there's no way.
I'm
this
like, there's
like,
no way. Like, this feels like a one and done type situation. A lot of these in this movie feel that way, where it's just like, cameras rolling, hopefully we get the best version, and hopefully that's it, you know?
Right, which is kind of scary, and it's even in of itself, you know?
But this intro is just insane, and then he gets on this on-foot chase, and he goes like onto this bus.
He has like an umbrella, and he's like...
he's dragging his feet, and he's wearing like Converse.
And you see like a close-up shot of it. You kind of feel it, though, too.
And he's like struggling to hold on, and it's just like, this is ridiculous. Like, this is insane.
It's like something you'd see in like The Naked Gun or something like that. Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's funny to know that he's the director, because I feel like if I was the director, I'd be like, all right, I don't know if we're going to do this. I really would be. I would be like, let's maybe chill out a bit. Maybe we can find a different way to film this. Because like, there's even just shots on this bus where he's literally like, you see him holding onto the bus, and you see in the background literally the ground just moving, and I'm like, that's insane. And then there are these other cars driving by, and he has to like find a way to jump above these cars.
It's cool. He's like all kind of stepping on them and everything.
And he has to hold his legs up, and I'm like, oh my God, like this is ridiculous. And it culminates in a great way. Like, he has this moment where Jackie Chan does this in his movies too, where it's the timing. Like, they just time it just right to where a bus stops right before the actor or something, or he gets hit by something.
Oh my God.
And they have to time that right for him to either roll at the right moment, or for the bus to stop right before the actor. And that happens in this movie. This bus like slams to a stop, and these guys fly off of it.
It's insane.
Crazy.
And it's funny because there's like a blooper thing at the end of the movie where it's like the bus almost hits him and everything. And I was like, holy cow. I don't even want to know how many times they had to film that.
That's crazy.
I would be like having a heart attack if I was doing that.
So it's a really high adrenaline opening. And again, like I feel like there's a difference watching this compared to like watching like a Jason Statham movie or something along those
like
lines.
Kind of those more like American action movies where they kind of ground themselves a little bit more. But I guess with this movie, it kind of, I guess you could say it reminds me a little bit of like a Kung Fu Hustle or something like that, where it's just like everything is heightened to like 1,000. And obviously this is not really going for like a more realistic portrayal. It knows that it's very silly and comedic, and it's kind of more playing on that, like that kind of like Looney Tunes style, like slapstick kind of humor mixed in with like more these like really insane action sequences, which I'm like, I don't even know how you come up with that, you know?
Yeah, crazy. It's absolutely insane.
Yeah. And then not only that, but even like when it isn't showcasing like a lot of the action sequences, you just have like these really hilarious moments with him, with when he's like investigating this girl, like obviously because they have her as like a key witness and everything. And obviously I was like, oh, this might not be my favorite aspect of the movie, but honestly for me, it played for a lot of really great humor. Like one of my favorite moments with that is where he brings her to like the apartment. He forgets it's his birthday, and they do like a surprise birthday for him. That was funny. And his girlfriend or wife or something, she sees her, you know, and obviously she's in her like the key witness is like in her pajamas and everything, and she like obviously she throws the cake at his face, and then somebody like rings the doorbell, and then like his friend like throws a cake at his face, and it's like it was like a running gag I just wasn't expecting at all. And man, it is so hilarious how they play it off. And then or even just like the moment he goes into the shower and he's like kind of talking crap about like his girlfriend, and then like he gets out of the shower and his girlfriend is literally standing right there next to him, and he still can't even figure it out, like, oh, she's right there. And then like he gets like the phone call, he says all this stuff, and then he looks behind, and it's just like his facial reaction is just like hilarious.
Those humor moments add a nice levity to the movie, just because, you know, that like with that opening, so high adrenaline and
exactly
and everything. I feel like they found that right balance. I feel like I wouldn't really, I guess I could be in if this was like a drama film and it was straight up no humor, more drama, leans into more of the police aspect and everything,
which I was kind of expecting, honestly. But I really love that they just play more into the humor, because I'm like, this is very just like cartoony and like the best way possible, you know. And
I like that. I like that it's a contrast to what you see, you know, when the action starts to pop off. Like this really does feel like a nice kind of blend, and it also does feel very of the time too, you know, like kind of 80s and everything.
Yeah, especially with like a lot of the music choices too, honestly.
Easily. There's like
there's like goofy
synths and everything. The one that I like with the villains is like this guitar thing. Like that's cool. I found their kind of theme and everything.
Oh, nice. I liked some of the more jazzy themes throughout.
Yeah, it was definitely quite the choice.
I know. Yeah, for sure.
The one that past that moment I wanted to mention was this car fight scene where he's fighting like this group of like guys between these two cars and everything.
And it was funny, like it made for like a really funny like moment where I laughed so hard, where it's like like out of nowhere this stroller comes out of nowhere, he's all what, I wasn't paying attention, hold up. And then you find out like the baby is fake and everything, and you just hear like the random sound effects.
I really enjoyed that. I liked
it was so awesome.
It's just like there are so many moments in action movies, especially now and everything, where the choreography doesn't do a great job of showcasing your characters and everything.
Right. Or the choreography isn't great and they just kind of shake the camera as like an excuse.
And that's one of the things that I notice in action movies is it's almost like it's like you're playing a video game kind of. And each villain, or if you're in like a 10-on-1 situation, and throughout this whole movie, this movie's like this, but they wait. All these enemies are attacking at once. And it's not just someone waiting for their turn. You know, I noticed that in movies. Like it's oh, this person goes in, he fights him. And you just look in the background, just a group of guys. They're all just kind of standing there waiting for their moment to attack.
It's like an obstacle course or something.
And this movie's not like that. Like at multiple moments, you'll see Jackie Chan like getting hit. Like he'll take a hit and then immediately he's followed up by like another hit or something. And that's what I enjoy with this movie is you see him get hit. You see him taking these hits on and it's by multiple people. It's not just one guy at a time. He fights one guy, then another guy shows up, fights him, another guy. You know, this movie has that chaotic, frantic nature. Yet they film it in such a way to where you just are like mind blown. In frame, you see them just consistently in one take, just following up each moment. Like there's a part where he's like fighting and he's on top of this car. He's dodging things, using the door to like block things.
That was awesome.
And then he's fighting on one car. The girl's in the other. She's getting attacked. And at one point he jumps and kicks the guy in the other car. And I was just like, this is insane in the best way. Like it was just so cool.
Yeah. Or he like,
so awesome.
Yeah. Or he like kicks another guy and he hits like that car window.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Or even, I forgot to mention the scene before that. He kind of stages this kind of break-in with one of his friends or something.
Oh, that was so funny.
The girl's trust. And that was like a good humor moment of just like, having the slapstickness of your friend getting knocked out and you're trying to like hold him up. That was so funny. I really enjoyed that scene.
And it got a good scare out of me too before they kind of reveal it's like his friend and everything. Because just like you still kind of think it's maybe like one of the goons or something like that too. And one thing I think I would say with that action sequence to kind of expand more is like it just keeps you on the edge of your seat. You're almost like you really don't know if he's going to make it out of this alive or not, you know? And same with like the girl trying to like get the gun and everything, you know, and she's kind of like in a panic and it's like, oh, holy cow, you know? Or I love the kind of humor moment where she gets the gun, she puts it like next to like his private area and she doesn't realize it's like a gun until like a second after and she's all, and she like throws the gun away. Or one of my favorite like kind of I guess more quote unquote drama moments is like there's like a whole sequence where it kind of turns into like a courtroom drama, you know. And obviously I think it's like the day after they can't get like the key witness because she like left and everything, and he it actually makes for an even more hilarious payoff too that I didn't even catch on until like later on. I was like, oh my god, that's actually perfect. Is so he brings like the tape recorder because he was like recording everything. And earlier on what happened was like she basically like hits him with like the orange juice, or she spills like orange juice on her on purpose, and she's kind of like, I didn't even realize it. I guess I'm maybe too kind of dumb to realize, but she was basically kind of like seducing him. And obviously they reveal like the info in like the courtroom and everybody's all like laughing and everything. He's all, no, that's not how it went. That's not how it went. I'm like, that's perfect. Because obviously you kind of see that in some certain action movies where they do like the seducer type of thing. And sometimes it feels kind of a little forced or just kind of okay. But in this movie, it made for like a really great big payoff for me personally.
It's crazy seeing all aspects of this movie. Like at one point, I wasn't expecting the movie to do this, especially starting out. They do like this whole kind of espionage scene of Jackie turning against his whole team and squad and everything. And I remember watching that. I was just like, wait, what? Like they don't believe him. Like he's trying to tell him this whole situation that happened. And
or the police
captain doesn't he's in on it eventually, but it was kind of this cool moment of like them raising the stakes even more, of him having to do this on his own and everything to kind of prove that, you know, he didn't murder this other cop. And I was just like, wow, that I was like, okay, that was another sequence where I was just like, I wasn't expecting them to go there, and that was really cool, and it really raised the stakes for me. I was like, oh, okay, wow, this is cool.
Yeah, it was an awesome build-up for sure, especially in like the climax and everything too.
Crazy.
But I was gonna say one of my other favorite moments is just like a simple kind of moment. It's just like where he's meeting up with his his partner and everything, and he's like, oh, the brake doesn't work. Can you just hold the car for a little bit? He goes to like the phone booth, and she's all like, whatever, you know, and like the car just like starts to move, and she's like, oh, look, your car is moving, and like out of nowhere the phone booth just gets obliterated and everything, and it makes for like a funnier moment because he's like, he goes, instead of taking like the car, he just goes into the taxi. He's like, okay, tell your mom I said hi and everything, and then I'm sorry I couldn't make it to the dinner thing. Which made for like a hilarious way of like him trying to go look for obviously his cop friend and everything, who's kind of like somewhat in on it, and that made for kind of a hilarious moment where it's like they reveal like, oh, he's in on it, and then the other person like puts the gun on him, you know, so it was like reveal with it and reveal with it and reveal, which was hilarious.
I wasn't expecting that. I was like, oh, okay, that's actually pretty hilarious.
And that whole action sequence too was awesome. Like there's this one guy who gets like kicked so hard that he like literally shatters the glass table.
That was insane. That's one of the things I noted with this movie was the amount of broken glass they have. It's crazy.
It's scary.
And I'm really hoping like it's like those movie, you know, sugar glass that they do. Because if it's not, man, that's insane. Like I can't even imagine like the injuries or stuff that might have happened, you know, breaking all this glass. And in the climax, there's this one shot of like Jackie's face like hitting this part of the glass. I swear it's edited
you
so
feel the
well.
pain. Yeah. You honestly kind of feel the pain of like what he's going through. Yeah. And then there's one other really hilarious moment. It's like when the cop, he's like at the station again, and the cop's like, oh, I'll be right back. Can you just hold down the station for a little bit? And all of a sudden, he gets like the phone call and everything. And then out of nowhere, like 10 other phones start ringing and everything. And there's like one person, he's all, hey, I lost my cow. He's all, oh, hold on, your cow's gonna have to wait. And then it's funny too. And then like there's like one other phone going off, and like he literally moves his like moving chair like all the way over there. And I don't know. It's like for me, I felt kind of, it's kind of like those videos where you see people get hurt and you kind of feel it. He literally like hits his head and his like neck, and I don't know if it's like the sound design or something, but you just feel that hit that he gets. Like it's like, oh god, that must have hurt. And it makes for a funny moment, and it's like the phone guy's all, oh, I'm just testing the landline. And then what made the, I guess, even scene even more funnier is that he literally like warms up his ramen and everything. He can't find the chopsticks, so he uses like 2 pencils, and he feels like something chewy, and he doesn't realize he ate the eraser. That was definitely like probably top 3 or 5 of like favorite comedic moments of this movie, if I could even rank them, honestly.
Yeah, there's so many. They're so funny.
Yeah. Did you want to talk about that climax and everything? Because this climax, like, and it's so funny because I think this was the clip I had seen from where he goes down this light pole. And this is the kind of only clip I had seen from it, but apparently he like electrocuted himself or something like that when he did that take and everything. And man, this, like, if I didn't think the action could get more like crazier and more like over the top and ambitious, like this is really where I feel like the film really like just feels like an explosion for me at that point, honestly. Like you have him going down escalators, he like goes down like a few stories at some point. And it's kind of cool how he uses kind of some of the props and like the mall and everything.
Crazy. Or he has this guy on the front of this motorcycle and he's driving him through these glass walls. I was just like, what the heck? Like this is crazy. And then the hand-to-hand stuff is just like,
it's just amazing.
Like you see so many creative moments with, and that's one of the things I like with Jackie too, is like his fighting style is different. It's not like how
Bruce Lee,
like, it's very frantic, but in the chaos and everything, you can still pay attention to what's going on. It's very fast.
I guess for me personally, it just kind of leaves me in like a trance of sorts or something like that. It's just kind of hypnotic at certain points for me personally.
It really is like its own art form. Like it's just
Jackie Chan style, I guess.
It's so personal to him and everything. You see it in his movies, just like the long takes, showing him showcasing all these moves and everything. And then just the choreography is just top tier because, like I mentioned, with some other action movies, the choreography can feel a bit coincidental, like, or
it feels kind of set up.
Set up, and they're just hitting point A, point B. Like this feels like
unexpected.
So many different moments is just like, damn, like these hits are coming out of nowhere and he doesn't block all of them. He gets hit, and that to me, I really enjoy that.
Yeah, exactly. And that's also what I think makes for great action movies too, is like, it's not going to be, they're not like some perfect like action superhero, like a, Arnold or Sylvester type, like this is very much like a mix of like a high end like master, but also somebody who's like also kind of inexperienced too. And also just like doesn't have all the moves right,
And they bypass, well, again, like I feel like at the time there wasn't as many restrictions and things on stunt work and everything. I'm just assuming. So I feel like they were able to get away with a lot more. And then also probably the low budget of the film. Like I can only assume they couldn't have really done many test runs, things like that to make sure that these work. And then Jackie being who he is, he's so committed to the roles and everything that he doesn't need. He doesn't really want a stunt person to fill in for him, you know?
Yeah.
So like I said, with him being the director, I guarantee he was probably like, well, let's just do it. Let's just shoot it.
Yeah.
And I'll do it. And hopefully we hit the points, you know?
Yeah. And it just shows how passionate he is, not only as like an actor and stunt person, but also just like as a director too, you know? It's like he clearly understands what he wants, clearly understands like what kind of tone and everything he's going for too.
And this is like, you're seeing an era of a movie that doesn't get made anymore, you know?
Yeah.
Like this,
I don't know if you could even really make a movie like this today, honestly.
And it's so hard to see now in action where it's just like, you feel like the punches are pulled or something. And obviously there are moments in this movie where you could see that same kind of thing, but it still feels kinetic. It feels like there's an energy behind all the moves and everything. I don't like it now in action movies where it's just like, I don't know, it's like the most bare minimum punches or kicks and everything, you know, like, treat it like it's an art form, you know, treat it like it's an expression, you know, because I think that's the one thing that Jackie knows so well, because in all of his movies, you can expect that and you can see that showcased, you know, even in some of the movies that aren't even that good. It's still really entertaining to watch this guy do his thing, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
So
and that's what's so great about it. And then just, man, like even just like the way it ends too, you know, it's like he like blows up. He's like past his boiling point, and it was like, dang, are we gonna see like a more like intense like Super Saiyan version of him at that point? You know, and that was such a great moment, the way he like punches the lawyer and everything, and the way it just kind of like ends like just abruptly like that was, I think, like just such a perfect kind of way to end this movie.
It really like, that ended, and then HBO Max recommends Police Story 2. So I literally felt compelled to just be like, well, let me just watch it right now, you know?
Yeah, I'm going to have to make time to watch that, because I've heard like kind of similar things to this movie also. And also, I just kind of would like to see a follow-up to a movie like this.
No, the way this movie ends and everything, I felt compelled to really just, all right, well, I might as well watch the next one.
Yeah, for sure.
But, and then I love the credit sequence. Like, it shows the behind the scenes and things, and just seeing Jackie behind the camera and everything, or seeing these things not go right, seeing the mistakes that happen. I was just like, oh my, like you see the car flip on its head, and I was just like, oh my God, like I can't even imagine the stress of this.
That's it sounds it's scary, man.
Yeah.
Or you have some like kind of funny blooper moments too, or even kind of like I mentioned, that whole bus thing. I'm like, that would freak me out. I'm like, I can't believe they actually did that in camera. I was like, oh, that might be like a, you know, like a stage setup or something. That's insane. They actually got like a real bus to do that.
And it's crazy to think, like, behind the scenes, they probably just thought they were filming like another action movie, but I don't think they realized that they were filming probably, you know, some of the greatest stunt work you've ever seen, some of the greatest action set pieces you've ever seen. Because like I mentioned with that intro, the cars driving through, like, you take that, you show that to anyone today, they're going to be like, that's amazing.
Yeah, and it kind of reminded me a little bit of like Mad Max Fury Road in that aspect. And I kind of wonder if George Miller maybe saw this movie and kind of took inspiration from it, honestly.
Because there's just a different feeling when you're watching these things play out, and there's no CGI. You know, and you're watching, you know, actual teams committed to this stuff, making these things,
and they're like, maybe like, real. Okay, we're only gonna have one take of this, so we got to make sure we get this right. You know, and then not only that, there was one other moment in the blooper thing I forgot to mention. Is like he like pulls obviously is like he pulls his partner's like backpack off. I didn't actually know they did that in camera, but it made for like kind of a funny moment too, of him like trying to not let go of like the motorcycle so he can have her back and everything. But I thought that was just hilarious.
It was.
Man, what do I say about this? This has to be one of the most mind-blowing action films I think I've ever seen, honestly. Like, even like with the moments of levity and like the kind of, you know, somewhat drama they show throughout, it's still just so entertaining throughout. Like, it's like literally just the whole movie is just nonstop action, just nonstop, just keeping you on the edge of your seat, and then just having you like and just having like really great intense moments, but also having great like moments where you're just laughing your butt off for me personally. And then just like the stuff with the romance, honestly, was just really funny. Like there's another moment where it's like him and his partner, they're like trying to like spy on like the, you know, the villain at the mall and everything before the whole big climactic sequence. And she's all, this is so boring. Can I go now? And it's kind of fun little fact. That's Maggie Cheung, actually. She's a really famous actress from Hong Kong. She's in a few movies I really love, In the Mood for Love and like 2046. So it was really cool to kind of see her in a movie like this and see like a different side of her acting compared to some of like her drama stuff that she usually does. So that was really awesome.
That's cool.
But yeah, I didn't know Jackie Chan had a movie like this in him, you know, like this is really like just awesome action set pieces, awesome drama, incredible slapstick humor. And that's the great thing with this movie. It's so tightly paced, even with some of the different avenues and directions it goes into. It doesn't feel jarring or out of place for me at any point in this movie. And this is a film I'm honestly just really excited to watch again. And I'm definitely going to have to check out that sequel too. Because honestly, after seeing this, I'm like, I kind of want to see more from this, honestly. I think for me, honestly, I think I'm at a 10. I think it's a 10 out of 10 for me, honestly. I really don't have any complaints with this, honestly. Just everything about this really works. Like it feels of its time, but it feels like just timeless at the same time for me personally.
Yeah, that's one of the things watching this movie is there is a practicality there. There is a commitment there that translates so well. Even to someone like me, you know, putting it on, I'm in, you know, the year 2026 and I still get something out of it. And I think that's worth being talked about. There's an appreciation there that is not the same case with every other movie. You know, sometimes you watch older movies and you can kind of look past some of the flaws and everything, you know, some of the seams and stuff. But with this movie, I swear I didn't see any. I swear I was just like enthralled throughout the whole thing. Granted, there is, you know, small stuff like the sound sometimes isn't the greatest, you know, sometimes the dubbing is a little off, but I mean, those are just like nitpicks. And what it comes down to is the moments that hit, like how hard was it? How good was it? You know, and you know, to watch a movie that's 40 years old and to, you know, kind of be in awe is kind of insane. That doesn't happen all the time. You know, sometimes when you show people older movies, you kind of have to do a little preamble of like, hey, you know,
it's of its time.
Is dated, some of the effects. But with this, no, like you literally put it on and it's just like, it speaks for itself, you know? So I think for those reasons, it just really couldn't rate it anything other than a 10 because the consistency is there throughout. The humor is great. The story just is so tightly edited together and it's just consistent throughout that I was just like, you know what? I really, if I was trying to rate this lower, it would be me, you know, judging a movie for its time period, you know, that it's set in. When, you know, what they pull off and what they're able to do with just this small, I guarantee like the small budget or the small amount of filming space, you know, things like that.
Which is crazy because you don't even notice it throughout too.
It doesn't feel small budget at all.
It honestly feels like it's high budget, you know, especially with the action set pieces.
And what they're able to pull off compared to some movies now that have $1 million budgets and everything, like it's just insane. Like this movie's impressive on every level. And just super entertaining.
Absolutely. And not only that, but I think for me too, personally, it's just like the right amount. Like I obviously mentioned this a lot, but it's just like, it's the perfect amount of over the top for me personally. That even though it is very over the top, very in your face, it does still have those moments where, it does have like more comedic moments, or it's kind of showcasing more kind of like silly slice of life moments that again don't feel like kind of out of place, or kind of like I mentioned with that scene where she's like holding the car and the car is destroying the phone booth, you know.
Nice.
But I'm really glad I loved and enjoyed this. Same. I really didn't know what I was expecting going into this, but I'm really happy with what I got. All right, so what do you got for next time?
Man. There's a lot of movies I was going back and forth with. This movie reminded me of certain films and everything. But I don't want to be that channel, you know? I don't want to be the people who just find one thing and then just kind of wring it dry.
Stick with it.
You know?
Yeah.
I really like that movies are as expansive as they are. And they have different aspects that we love, you know, like I love action, I love the stunt work and everything, but you know, sometimes I like other things in movies. So I think that's the one thing that I want to kind of stay away from. I don't want to just, you know, hit the repeat button every episode, you know?
Yeah, you're good.
So one of the movies that I wanted to recommend last year and I never got around to it is a comedy movie that really kind of shaped the humor in not only me, but I feel like in a generation. It was kind of strange watching this movie now and you're just like seeing the byproduct of, you know, the director's head and what he thought was funny. And for some reason it related with a lot of people. And I feel like to some older people, it couldn't be quite explained, you know, like why this is funny. Yet for some reason it was. And then also some older people thought it was funny. So it's kind of like in this weird situation.
Yeah.
And this does kind of remind me of a movie we talked about earlier in the podcast called Smiley Face, where either this humor is going to work with you or it won't. Like it really is just that's what I had a hard time with, you know, with that movie was just the stoner kind of humor. Some things can hit, but some things is just like, I don't find that funny. So that will be the case with this movie. Either some people find it really funny and hilarious, or some people don't. Some people might be like, why is this funny? You know, and I can understand both angles. But I find it hilarious and I would love to talk about it. It is Napoleon Dynamite. It's one of my favorite movies.
Alrighty.
You haven't seen it, right?
I have not seen this movie, but I have heard so much about this movie over the last, like, I don't even know, like 5 or 10 years.
Jesus.
And it's so funny because the guy who made the Minecraft movie recently. Exactly. So that's actually kind of hilarious. We're talking about this guy too.
Really funny. Yeah,
but cool. I'm excited to watch this. I've never seen this movie before.
If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. It is a product of the time. Like we were just in a weird place in the 2000s, and for some reason, this movie came out the perfect time, and just for some reason hit with the pop culture at the time, and for some reason was just relevant for the next couple of years. Like, it's crazy to see, you know, the cultural impact that this movie had, considering how small budget it is, how just, you know, it's so weird. And it's so weird to kind of identify that moment in time of younger people kind of branching out from the older generations, you know, kind of doing their own thing and being like, you know what, this is something we like, you know, this isn't just, you know, the movies your parents recommended, you know, this is something that they found funny on their own, you know? And I kind of like that. I like it when you can see those moments in generations of, you know, it is random. Sometimes it is random and it feels like, wait, why is that funny? You know, like there are a lot of moments like that nowadays where you hear kids mention things, and I don't know, I think that's cool. I like it how they have their kind of defining moment that they come up with on their own, you know?
For sure. Absolutely.
Yeah. And this movie was one of them. So I'm excited to talk about it. But.
Yeah, this will definitely be exciting. I remember you mentioned this movie during the Smiley Face discussion, actually. So yeah. Okay, cool.
So honestly, if you don't laugh, if you don't think it's funny, Wallied, that is totally fine, because this movie is very strange.
No. I hope I enjoy it. It seems kind of up my alley, honestly, from some of the clips I've seen. So
perfect.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you don't want to be spoiled for Napoleon Dynamite, check it out. And hopefully you guys will join us on the next one.
All right. Good day and good night, babes.
We'll see you.